Hey guys, we're here again for the What Are We Drinking podcast. I'm Josh Coburn, restaurateur, and with me, as always, is Andrew Isaacson, advanced sommelier. And in just a minute, I'm going to ask Andrew, what are we drinking?
Are you going to ask me in a minute, or was that it?
I thought we'd chit chat a little bit first, and
Okay,
then
all right.
I just wanted to give him a little teaser of what's
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
But, before we get into what are we drinking, how you doing these days?
With the quarantine or the lockdown, everybody's calling it the quarantine. It's not exactly a quarantine, I guess, unless you're
Right.
sick and confirmed. But, well, today was nice. I was outside a lot. Yesterday was not. I felt very cooped up in the house. I was kind of losing my mind a little bit. But generally fine. Drinking this it's fine for a box wine.
Okay, drinking
But
box wine.
our base sangria red wine, I've been having that because it was cheap, so I got a couple boxes of it.
Right.
And it's gotten very boring. It's not bad, but I'm looking forward to drinking something a little different tonight.
Good.
Honestly.
I changed my mind. We should have started with what we're drinking, and then we can talk
I don't
about
even
that
know.
while we're drinking.
I don't even know what we're drinking.
All right. Well, as
I
an
haven't
advanced
thought of it.
sommelier, you probably
What
have
goes
the
there?
skills to be able to choose a wine for us to drink that would be
Only
appropriate
me.
to the occasion. Well,
Only
who
me,
better
not
than
you.
you?
I see.
I mean, anybody can choose
Well,
a
don't
wine.
you would know what you want to drink better than I would know, regardless of.
Would I though?
I think so.
I think that's.
I think that's how that works.
Yeah, but sommeliers.
Especially considering you know every wine.
I do
on the
know the
list.
wine list. I do.
Sommelier
know
is
the
really
wine list.
there for someone who doesn't know the wine list.
Right. Right. If it's a wine list that you don't know, you can
Right.
consult with the sommelier and go, "What is the?" Yeah. Right. What's the?
I think that's what a sommelier is mostly.
What's the
useful for.
2005 Chateau Neuf like? Is that still got some legs on it, or?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what I think as far as what we're drinking. You're already drinking a beer. it
I'm
looks
having
like.
the pre-drink.
Yeah.
Drink.
What's your pre-drink beer?
The Palm Ale
Oh, yeah.
on tap. It's good. It's a little, toffee, caramelly, smooth.
Yeah, nice little beer.
Yeah.
I've been liking I've been liking just in general German beers lately, and I enjoy them because they're just beers. They're not any of this bullshit with this crazy
Overly
hopping and
hopped.
stuff.
Yeah. I wonder, this culture of IPAs and overhop beer. I feel like everyone I talk to
Yeah.
is over it.
Yeah.
However, it still continues to be the most popular beer. But anytime I talk to somebody about it, it's what they love to drink.
Yeah.
Although I have a theory of why it's so popular for brewers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a theory.
Covers up a lot of flaws in the beer.
Well, it covers
right?
up flaws, I guess, but
Right.
it also is a preservative.
Ah.
Maybe that just extends the life of it, just a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's useful in that way.
Okay.
I don't know. That's just where I'm thinking about it.
All right.
Maybe that's not the case at all, but
Interesting.
that's the purpose of hops originally, is to be a preservative.
Sure.
But I wonder if that is what the reality of there being such a prevalence of hops in beer today.
The more hops you
that's
put
the
in the beer, the better it keeps, and that's just easier
Keeps
for
better,
everybody.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've been drinking the Augustiner, German beer.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
I love German beer too.
And because it tastes like beer.
Balanced. It's balanced.
It's got this beery flavor to
Right,
it, not
right.
like from
It's
crazy
hard to
hops
balance an
and
IPA.
citrus.
Because IPA, by definition, it just has all this bitterness and all this hop addition.
Yeah.
So if you want to make it balanced, you have to use so much malt
Right.
to balance it out. Like the Surf Wax, the Burial
Yeah.
Surf Wax, that's a fantastic beer. It's really full though. It's got all this hop, all this tropical, well the hops are tropical, guava,
Yeah.
passion.
Fruity
and then all this
hops, yeah.
rich kind of body to balance it
All
out.
right. So, look, I got to tell you, I'm getting a little parched sitting here with nothing to drink. So, if you
Normally
have-
you would just take a sip of my beer.
Yeah, well, can't do that
No,
anymore.
you cannot.
So, I'll tell you something. I was looking around here and I saw something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something about a wild mountainside Viognier
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
from Russian River Valley.
Okay. Oh.
That looked pretty crazy.
Okay.
Uh,
So you are capable of making your own decisions on wine.
Yeah, well, it was intriguing.
Yeah.
Russian River Valley
Yeah,
Viognier,
of course.
especially with that, like, whatever it set up as a wild mountainside.
That's the
fruit or
name of the
something.
bottling. Yeah,
Okay.
Wild Mountainside Viognier.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one to taste and to talk about, actually.
Because I like Viognier. It's a little bit of an obscure
Wild
grape.
Mountainside.
You know, it's a little bit of a rare grape that not everybody knows about Viognier.
No.
But tremendous.
And drinking
can
it,
be good.
drinking it is an unpredictable experience.
Mm,
Viognier,
You never know.
which I guess we'll get into, but
it's not one of the reliable ones.
It's fickle. I think is probably the word.
Right.
I'm into that. I had come into tonight thinking red.
Okay.
But I don't care though. I don't care.
I'll go red.
No, let's go. I'm into Dumal.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
You want to do it?
Oh yeah.
All right. I don't know anything about this wine. I haven't tasted it before. I'm aware of the winery vaguely. So it'll be interesting. And I don't know how much it costs either. So I think
It's not cheap.
No,
as Dumal.
Yeah, don't
never
tell me.
is.
But no, I mean, right. I know based on Dumal it's going to be expensive, but it'd be interesting to taste it. Should we?
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Let's do it.
Could you bring us the Dumal Viognier, please? There we go.
I don't have a wine key. I do,
Wait,
but not
you
exactly
shouldn't
on me.
admit that. As an
think
advanced
it's fine.
sommelier, you
I'm
should
not-
never
I'm not-
admit.
I'm
you
not
don't know.
working the floor right now. I don't need to have a
Doesn't
wine
matter.
key.
You
If
should
I'm
sleep with one
if I'm
under
in
your
my bed,
pillow.
I should have a wine key
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah, you
That's
should have
insane.
it under your pillow, and like if somebody walks up,
I'll
sneaks
tell you-
up on you in the middle of the night with a wine bottle, you should just be like,
Ready to open a
With-
bottle of wine. I'll tell you, I always know where there's one close by,
right,
but I don't
fine.
necessarily always have it on me.
as an advanced sommelier, you've just got that sense, like
I-
you
well,
can tell where
yeah.
your wine key is.
And I know I have a couple in my car.
All right.
Whatever. I'm in my shorts from the bike
Okay,
ride.
all right, all right.
You know.
Well, I'm gonna let you do the honors.
Okay. All right. Let's show the old Dumal Wild Mountainside Viognier 2016 from the Russian River Valley, which is in Sonoma, which is in California.
Yes. Pacific Coast.
North Coast of
Yeah.
the Pacific
Wow,
Coast,
of
of
course.
course. Yeah.
The Pacific Coast of California.
Yeah.
Is there another one?
Not exactly.
Well, California's almost got doesn't quite, but it almost gets close to the Gulf of California, aka the Sea of Cortez. You know, doesn't quite. That's all. There's a little bit of Mexico between
Right.
it, but
Right.
like Baja California does have two coasts.
Sure.
It's got the Pacific
Has
Coast
the Gulf and the Pacific.
and the Gulf of California, right?
It's a lot of coast actually, because it has a
Yeah.
peninsula.
Yeah.
So Dumal. Now we know Dumal here because we had this Russian River Valley Pinot Noir at one point, which was just stellar.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I've had this one. I've had this once. I've had the Pinot Noir and I've had their Syrah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've ever had from Dumal is just top quality. Fantastic wine.
Hey Lily, I'm sorry to bother you. Could I have a little? I really am a little parched. Can I get a little glass of I don't know, like the beer or something? Like a little glass of the palm, or maybe water. Yeah, water's
You
actually.
do the
cool.
honors.
Do the honors. What?
The ritual. The tasting ritual.
Well, why would we do the tasting ritual when we're just drinking the beer? Like
I don't know,
the wine. I can't send it back.
It's just such a habit
Yeah.
that I poured it and I already put it down, so I'm not going to
Okay.
undo it now.
I suppose we could send it back to the supplier. We can send it.
We
back.
could, we can. Yep. The cork didn't smell bad though.
Yeah.
So
Well, I can tell you, it's not.
cork.
There's no obvious flaw in this. It's fine.
Good. So we're good to go.
I think we're good to go. Yeah.
It's going to be too cold at first. It'll warm up though. Just fine. Okay. Great.
So right, my initial reaction is that I chose poorly.
Why?
I don't know. That's just the first thing I thought when I tasted it.
You get oak right away. Right away. It's tropical though. It's a different kind of nose than what I don't know, maybe we're used to. Because we don't drink a lot of Viognier.
That's right.
Nobody drinks a lot of Viognier.
Well, on Viognier, I often get that fruity pebbles note. Right, that's what I always say.
It's a little colorful.
Right.
Colorful nose.
Colorful,
Yeah.
mixed.
There's like
bright
purpley and
berries.
blue colors in there
Right.
that you don't get in whites usually.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, but to me it's like, and there's like a candied element to it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fruity pebbles.
Yep.
So I'm going to tell you this,
Mm-hmm.
and this might actually kill the podcast a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I really can't smell anything.
Why not?
Because maybe I have COVID-19. I don't know, or I just can't.
You don't sound nasally.
No, my sinuses are clear and everything.
How do you feel generally?
Okay.
Worse than usual?
I don't think so.
I thought you already had COVID-19.
I don't know. I think I feel okay, but I saw somewhere that one of the symptoms can be loss of smell. Is a symptom of COVID-19.
That's you just lose the sense of smell. I got the impression that it was the way you lose smell when you have any cold. When your nose is stuffy,
You'd
you
think,
can't really
yeah,
taste
you'd
that
think,
well.
right.
You can't smell anything.
Right. You'd
Why would you
imagine.
just lose your sense of smell?
I don't know.
That would be an odd. I guess it's possible. I mean,
Yeah.
what do I know about
Could
it?
be,
But
right. I'm not saying I have no
So-
sense of smell. It's coming through now, actually.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting that little fruity pebbles now,
Sure.
which I
Well,
always look for in Viognier.
I also would say that you probably are expecting more of a nose than this actually has.
Yeah, Viognier is often big.
It can
on the
be
nose.
aromatic, but this has been aged in oak barrel.
Right.
It's going to lose some of those volatile, fresh aromas.
Sure, it's an aged white wine. It's going to
Yeah.
strip out some of the
Gonna
fresh.
lose some of
fruit,
that.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much within the normal parameters of a Viognier,
Okay.
but this is as opposed to some less expensive, very heady, if not almost like waxy, soapy
Yeah.
aromas that some Viogniers we've had have.
Yeah. Although it's hard to tell whether what you're calling low nose is what I'm calling a restrained nose, right?
Mhm, mhm.
It's is your red that you see the same as the red that I see? That's like that old debate. There's
Right,
no
right.
way for us to
Ever find that out? Yeah.
Decide if my nose is blunted or not.
You have to imagine that we basically do kind of see something very close to what the other person sees.
Yeah.
It has to be close. How could certain things like fashion? There's no way this bar, which is like this mahogany, brownish, reddish color to me right now. There's no way it looks like green to you what green is to me. There's no way. It would look ridiculous. And it just wouldn't work. This works with the yellows and whatever else.
Yeah.
If this is green and that's blue to you, that just wouldn't make. There's no way you would think that looks normal. No way.
Well, you don't know what I would think. There's no way you can ever establish that. You know what I mean? We could be living in alternate universes.
I guess.
Altogether.
You might not even be real.
Well, that's right.
You might not.
Exactly.
I don't know that. You don't know that I'm
In
real.
fact, knowing me, it's probably right. You'd have to admit it's actually pretty unlikely that I could be real.
Why?
I'm just such a ridiculous character. That doesn't even seem believable.
I
right?
guess so, yeah.
How could a guy like this actually be a real person?
Right. Well, unfortunately, it's the case. More? Wow, it must be good. I haven't even had the first sip yet. So yeah, oak, kind of a colorful nose. It's not a pronounced nose. It's not really in your face or anything. So if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find that. But I don't think that it should be. I think this style of Viognier, this is like the Convrieu style. Convrieu being like a North Rhone, French, kind of the classic Viognier style. I think this is more in that vein.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty typical.
Yeah, Viognier is native to the Rhone Valley in France. I don't know.
It's delicious.
Okay. How so?
I mean, on the palate, it has so much colorful flavors going on. More than the nose, I would say. More fruit. And the texture is, I think the texture is one of the things that Viognier is most famous for. You know, Viognier is it's a full body white, just like a Chardonnay. On your blind taste with the court, you should probably lateral when you're doing your first like guess of what grape it could be.
Okay.
If you're thinking it might be Chardonnay or Viognier, you'd probably include Viognier or Chardonnay respectively. It's just like another full bodied white that usually has oak aging, or could have oak aging on it. You know, you usually lateral that, maybe among other things, but it's got something in common there. And I find the big difference between, I mean, the aromas are way different between Chardonnay and Viognier, other than the oak. You can get tripped up on the oak. But the texture, even though they're both kind of full-bodied, Chardonnay and Viognier, I find that Chardonnay is, you know, when it's full, it's kind of buttery. This isn't really buttery.
It's not buttery.
It's waxy.
Yeah, that's right.
Can be oily. Chardonnay is very rarely oily. It just gets really creamy and buttery. This
absolutely.
gets waxy to oily.
That's right.
You know, and when you can appreciate that subtle difference after having drank enough Viognier and Chardonnay, you can't miss it.
Yeah.
It becomes a distinct difference, I think.
Interestingly, I get that kind of waxy flavor on like a lot of Southern French whites too. Like Grenache Blanc often gives that waxy flavor.
How the hell can we describe waxy though to people that have never had Viognier? It's so subjective sounding, and it is. Wax. You know. Well, it's
the texture.
It's
and
not.
The flavor.
It's not buttery. I'll put it that way. It's full, but it's not buttery. You know, maybe it's the fullness with the lack of butter that gives it that sensation or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How to exactly describe it.
There's a little bitter, soapy edge to it.
Yeah.
That's part of the waxiness.
Right.
Yeah, it's like more buttery. It's more like wax, soap into perfume, into floral. You know, like that.
The florals are really coming out here. Yeah.
Right. It's like that. Some kind of like there's a little like lavender soap or something.
Exactly.
You know?
But not in any unpleasant sense. I mean, it's just there's an aroma here.
I don't know. I think it could be unpleasant.
No, it can be. It's not in this wine.
Says you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's certainly my opinion. And interesting, like what you would eat alongside this, you know.
Yep. How are we doing on time?
We have about a minute and 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So initial assessment.
Well, I know the price. I think it's great. I think it's very, very accurate representation of the grape. I think it's a great representation of the grape in California. I mean, it's got restraint.
Okay.
It really does. For being this grape that has the potential to be this really flabby, oily, ridiculous kind of wine, I think that it's been pulled back just the right amount. I mean, that's my initial impression.
Especially as a California example, being from California, I would have thought it was going to be like crazy fruit flavors and like, you know, like weird.
And crazy rich.
Which a lot of California wines are, especially when you get into more obscure varieties that they don't usually grow in California.
Right.
They can come across really strange. Like California Sangiovese sometimes has this crazy Hawaiian sea. Sangiovese is the Chianti grape, and it's normally kind of red cherry and earthy and very restrained. California Sangiovese is sometimes like crazy Hawaiian punch flavors and
Fruit
weird.
punch and, yeah.
You know, and that I think happens with Viognier in California often too.
Right, and I think it's opening up
Goes
really
nuts,
greatly. You know, we're gonna call it. Take a break in a second. I think that one this warms up. It opens up a little bit. I think it's gonna be fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break. We're gonna let the wine warm up a little bit so some of the flavors can come out a bit more, and then we'll talk about what you might pair it with.
Okay.
Cool.
Great.